I would say Mexico City is very charming, colorful, vibrant.
Yeah, really beautiful, but there's a lot of things that we didn't expect about Mexico City that we definitely should have prepared for.
Last year, actually in 2017, Mexico marked a really great spot.
Yeah,
they
went
list.
a really big milestone last year, for travelers at least.
Yeah, so it became the 6th most visited country in the world, in the whole entire world. Back in like 2013, 4 years ago.
Number 15.
We arrived Mexico in October,
about 2 months ago, and we mainly focused and stayed in Mexico City and then hubbed out around Mexico City.
So traveling Mexico for the first time, of course, we have made a bunch of mistakes.
A lot more than we would like to admit, but we did make a bunch of mistakes, and we don't want you to make the same mistakes that we did.
The first mistake we made, this is quite a big issue because we pack all summer clothes. I mean, I basically pack all summer clothes.
Movies.
You guys might not feel familiar with me dressing up like scarf and jacket and things. Fun fact though, I didn't even bring the jacket because we are going to Mexico.
I mean, when we asked our friends and you know that had been to Mexico, and when like we thought about Mexico, you know, Mexico seems to be like a hot place. Well, come to find out, when we arrived there in the early mornings and late nights, it was like 30 degrees, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is way too cold for summer clothes. It's only ever cold like first thing in the morning. It's really not too bad. And in the afternoon it gets warm, but I forgot my rain jacket, so I'm really hoping that it doesn't start raining today.
I still remember the time that we went to Forever 21 because they got the big sales going on, and then they are all summer clothes, and I told Jimmy that I have to get all summer clothes for Mexico.
Literally packed an entire suitcase full of summer clothes, and it was not summer.
Well, you can still expect to see like during the day, at noon for example, or in the afternoon, but not late afternoon. It's pretty hot.
It's just really well known to have cool mornings and cool nights. Like there's snow. There's snow in Mexico.
We got in a big perception that like the picture we see about Mexico or like the travel video we see about Mexico,
it always looks so warm.
It looked warm. It looked like Cancun style.
Yeah, which there are those areas if you go to the coast, but Mexico City sits like what, 7,000 feet above sea level.
We think that Mexico is not that big, but turned out to be that Mexico is actually really, really big. So the weather varies between like the...
Very drastically between the states and Mexico. We left the US because of the snow. And we went down there and there was snow in Mexico.
Yeah, but fortunately we are in Mexico City, so there is no like,
there wasn't snow close to us.
Central Mexico has a high altitude, and so temperatures vary like kind of like different throughout the years.
It would just make sure that you drink plenty of water when you're traveling, no matter, you know, whether it be nighttime or daytime, because the temperature can drastically change fast. Raining evenings and chilly nights and mornings are very common, even in the warmest days, so make sure you bring layers.
So the next mistake is kind of like really critical for us as a budget travelers, because
we were always told Uber is the cheapest, Uber is so cheap, and Uber is cheap.
On the day that we do apartment hunting, we took like a bunch of Uber.
Like 8 to 10 of them.
Come to find out at the end of the day, we look at the money and we were like, why we spend so much money? And then come to find out like Uber. So the number, like the number that show on the screen, it doesn't seem like much because it's like 60 peso, like 50 peso.
It could be 50 or 60 pesos. And then the longer the traffic is, the more it goes up. If they can't find you, which has happened to us, the money will go up because you made them wait. And Uber actually charges international fees. So even though I have an international travel card, the company itself charges international fees. And
also like the mistake that involved with Uber is also we took Uber at the wrong time on some day because we don't quite get familiar with the traffic condition and things. So when we start taking Uber at about like 5, 6, 7, 8,
that's when you run into some problems.
So then we solve the problem later when we have to actually go pretty far off where we stay. We have to go to Koyokan that day, and we're like, oh, if we take Uber,
it'd be too expensive.
It'll be too expensive, so then come back.
So we decided to take the metro.
We have been here for like a week, and
first time riding the subway.
Yeah, and
first the metro is kind of scary because you don't really know how it works. But after like 2 trips, we really figured out how it worked, and it really wasn't as difficult.
So then, come to find out that we can take subway for 5 peso only, no matter how far we go.
As many transfers, as long as you want, you can literally sit on the subway all day for 5 pesos.
Yes. That's true right there. Alright, the next thing, the salsa mistake. I mean...
That's for me. Going to Mexico, you think guacamole. Like, you think guacamole is going to be everywhere. And some of the salsa types actually look like guacamole. Like, they're green, like really thin.
Thick layer?
Or thick layered, but it looks like a thick green, like without really chunks in it. But it's not guacamole. It's pica pica. Like, it's really spicy.
Why do you think there will be a lot of guacamole in Mexico?
One of those assumptions, I guess. It's like not a good assumption, but like I just assume like burritos and guacamole, and like burritos are from the north, like northern states where it borders the U.S. and then in the U.S. and then guacamole is just not really as common.
So the thing is, like, you can't really remember the color of each salsa and think that it will be this specific taste. Like, for example, some restaurant, the green salsa is so spicy.
And then others, it's not.
Other is not. Some restaurant, the red salsa is so spicy, but the others is not.
And one of the locals actually told us a good thing, which I didn't really do before, is just smell it first, Yeah. Make sure you smell it. If it burns your nose, it's pica.
There is a way to always in Mexico to taste a salsa and then smell it.
If you smell it first, if it burns your nose, you know to put a little bit.
If your mustache,
that's the.
Exactly. No.
Yeah, but make sure that you have to get ready for that burning smell. Accommodation mistake. So let me tell you the strategy that we always use for the past year when we're traveling. What we always do, we always stay in each city or each country for like a month.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because first of all we can save a lot on accommodation by
just
avoiding
easier
the
that
hotel.
way. You get a monthly discount.
Yes. So that's why we always apply this strategy, and we apply this strategy in Mexico as well. But come to find out that a lot of places in Mexico for apartment, accommodation, they want you to stay really long term. So most of the times that we face is like at least 3 months, 6 months.
And they want you to put a down payment, and they want somebody to sign for you, like verifying that you're like a good tenant.
Yeah. So that's why we just
had to go with Airbnb.
And we booked it for a month. We actually lost $50 on that because the Airbnb that we stay, we booked for 30 days, right? And then we arrived to that place.
And
it's not nothing like we expected.
Yeah.
So we want to get the money back, but the owner said that it's the policy of Airbnb that
she can only refund everything but 2 days. Like, you have to stay because she has a minimum requirement to stay there.
So that's why we have to waste $50 for nothing. Didn't stay there.
We do still suggest you getting an Airbnb for a couple days, but within that couple days, use those couple days to find another Airbnb. So you're there and you can go to that Airbnb and check it out and look at it and try and find a good one that fits your needs.
About tipping culture, the tip culture.
I don't know, in the US there's a huge tipping culture. It's like 20% of your bill. Like, we knew that, like, being in the US, that it was that way. In Asia, you know that there is no tipping culture. In Mexico, we didn't really know. We didn't really think about it.
We went to the restaurant, the set-up restaurant with like street food set up and things, and then we didn't leave the tip.
Which we didn't know until the following day. We went to eat with our friend Laura, and she told us, you know, like it's like
10%.
10%. Like if you're at a good restaurant and everything, if you're at street food, you don't tip. But if you're at a good restaurant, it's 10%, which we didn't know at first.
This is not only applied to the restaurant, but also when you go to drink at the bars, you have to tips as well. So any setup type that you have to physically sit down there and they serve you something, you're supposed to tips. But most of the time street food, they leave just the box.
Yeah.
And it depends on you if you want to tips them or not. So these are all the mistakes we made as the first timer in Mexico, guys.
And actually, like, you have to make mistakes in order to learn. So now we've made them, so now you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. So we have learned a lot, and because we made the mistakes, so this is something that we will remember for life. If you have been to Mexico City as well, or just Mexico in general, what mistake have you made?
Yeah, like let us know so that next time we go, we don't make the same mistakes you do. Let's giving community. We'll give you some, you give us some.
Win-win situation.
So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to our Patreon members and the new ones coming in. We can't thank you guys enough. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys.
Yes.
So
a couple things that we would like to leave the message here is that if you also want to get the unlisted video, you want to get exclusive video, you can also check out the Patreon group.
we do a lot of travel tips and stuff. Yeah, link in the description. Sorry.
Yeah. Also Instagram.
Yeah, if you guys aren't following us, we post stories almost daily, and we have a lot of more frequently updated content. You can follow us there as well.
That is the drawback of YouTube, because on YouTube
The
it's
videos
pretty
take so
delayed.
long.
Yeah, it's pretty delayed. So we hope that you enjoyed the video and found this video useful, and
let us know below what you think about travel mistakes in Mexico or anywhere else, really.
it doesn't have to be Mexico,
no,
right?
Anywhere.
Some countries or some region or some city, you might make the same mistake like us, or let's help each other out.
So thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.